family. I live in Saudi Arabia and I have a makeup collection that just keeps getting larger. It did not today, but it could always could tomorrow. You never know. What I'm going to be talking about today are some predictions I made early on in 2022, and did they hold water? I'm also going to be doing my makeup, kind of a get ready with me style video, because I have places to go, people to see, stuff to do, races to go to. We're going for like a barn girl glam situation, which is to say that my makeup is going to look all right, but probably I'm going to smell weird by the end of the day. So if that interests you, please feel free to stick around and let's jump right into it. I'll get started on my makeup and let's go. So the first prediction that I made back early on in 2022 was that I was going to move back to Egypt. Yeah, it did not happen. Yeah, that didn't happen. I signed a contract and I was ready to go and I was trying to figure it out, but stuff happened. It was kind of a rough time. Yeah, not my favorite thing. I don't think I'd be doing anything on YouTube if I lived in Egypt, because frankly I'd be too busy looking at cool things. And also, just if you think the makeup industry is behind in Saudi Arabia, which like I know it is, and we can't really get launches and nobody's interested in like indie makeup or anything like that. If you can imagine like how this is here, it's 10 times that way in Egypt. Granted, I could probably work more as a freelance makeup artist in Egypt, but it would be difficult for me to get like replacement products. So for instance, like if I ran out of RCMA foundation in a palette, I'd have a really hard time replacing that palette, because shipping there, if you can imagine a worse place than here to get things shipped to you, it's Egypt. So I think that would impact my channel makeup interests quite a lot, because yeah, like it just wouldn't be the same. Likewise, I didn't declutter a whole lot in 2022 because it ended up that I didn't need to. Like, even though I moved houses, I did not move countries, so I didn't end up decluttering anything. Really. I decluttered a little bit recently, but that was it. I'm gonna be using the Hela palette today, I think, for kind of a greeny neutrally look. Okay, so did I try any Kimchi Chic beauty products in 2022? Oh my god, what did I just do? This brush sucks. I really didn't. I still don't find any of the palettes that interesting. I'm really interested in kind of trying their foundation and face products, but yeah. Then recently I had a whole basket of Kimchi Chic loaded up in my cart, and I was about to basically buy a full face, and guess what? They don't ship here. So I'm gonna have to time it out to when I'm at home, and like when that happens, it's kind of a toss-up, because I could decide that there are just other things that I'm interested in this go around, and that, you know, could very well happen again. So as much as I want to, I haven't seemed to find the right time to be able to. So next up, I wanted to really try Adept Cosmetics, and specifically I wanted that Ambient Nude palette. I think in dark. Yeah, I remember it was dark. This year I did try Adept Cosmetics, but I did not get the Ambient Nude. I ended up getting the Plain Jane Remastered and also the Heather Austin palette in kind of a bundle. And I like Adept. It's not always my favorite, just because sometimes those shadows can crease on me, the duochromes especially. And yeah, I think now, do I give it away? I bought the Ambient new, but also the thing is too, is that I can't ship it here. So right now my friend is in the States and she's gonna bring the palette back for me. I bought it and had it sent to her house and she's gonna bring it back for me, which is super good. So yeah, and then also in the middle of the year, like when I was at home, I was gonna try to order that palette, but they were reformulating it. So I was like, hey, are you gonna, is this gonna be available while I'm here? Because it said that it was gonna be available summer 2022, and they're like, don't know. So yeah, I ended up having to get Plain Jane Remastered and Heather Austin instead. Not that I'm mad, I'm just disappointed, a little bit. But also, I still get to try the palette, so that'll be coming up at some point. Okay, number 4. One prediction I made is that I would try Nomad Cosmetics. I did not do that. I did not do that one single bit. So, Nomad Cosmetics has come out with a lot of palettes this year. And I've seen it as the favorites for some creators that I really like to watch. That said, to me, there's no special shades. I'm not gonna go for it right now. Haunted Europe was one that I really liked and I wanted to keep my eye on and kind of think about, but it's gone now. It's been discontinued. So that kind of, you know, doesn't leave me with much place to go. And then I also was looking at like the Marrakesh palette, and I did not need that palette. I did not need that color story. And I think it's gone now as well anyway, so I just didn't end up buying anything. They've come out with some different palettes since, and like I said, they've all, you know, been well received, but I just don't find them that interesting. If there aren't any special shades like for me to get excited about, I'm kind of not into it. I'm still interested in a lot of indie brands, and there were a lot of indie brands that I tried this year, but just this one was not one of them. So, meh, I don't know. Another indie brand that I was like super interested at the beginning of the year was Mira Beauty, and I Googled it the other day. I don't even know that they're still around. So, no. Not only did I not try it, I think they might be gone. One other palette that I really wanted to try in 2022 was the NARS palette. I did try it, I bought it, and it, I believe, made it in my top 10 ranking for the year, so there you go. In general, I've been keeping an eye on Oden's eye. There are a couple things I haven't gotten, just because like I really don't need more eyeshadow, you know? And like, it's good quality. Don't misunderstand me here. Like, it's good quality. There are just, like, I'm wearing it right now, come on. You know, there are just things sometimes that I'm not quite a fan of. Some of the shadows sometimes crease on my eyes. Like, I definitely put down glue in order to put this like very shifty duochrome shade on, and that's to be expected sometimes, but just like, yeah, sometimes the color stories remain to be a little abstract for me. And just in general, I don't need every single palette. You know, like I don't. I know this looks crazy right now, by the way. Yeah, I just don't need to get every single palette that a brand ever releases. Like I'm gonna get more Oden's eye. It's not that I won't, but just like, you know, I don't need every single launch. You know, another palette I really wanted to try in 2022 was the Jade Third Wall collaboration palette with Beauty Bay. I definitely bought that. And it actually is, I believe, in my top 3 palettes I used this year. So yeah, that was a good purchase. This year, I did kind of lean into Beauty Bay quite a bit more as a brand, just because it's so affordable. They come up with good color stories, and the shadows are good quality and fairly consistent. So that was my feeling towards that in 2022. I know I look insane. I've been trying underpainting lately. I think it's kind of fun. Another thing that happened this year is that Age of Opulence is no longer my favorite palette at all from Beauty Bay. In fact, I have it ranked pretty low in my Beauty Bay palette ranking. And that's a video I've done fairly recently, but it's certainly not my favorite palette at all at this point. I think I have much better from the brand. And yeah, I hope that I don't get more like it. You know what I mean? Because that's what I don't want to see. I want to see Beauty Bay backslide on kind of their quality. I think they're on a good roll right now. They're on a good kick. Okay. Now, if you're worried, now I'm gonna blend it out. And it's gonna be okay, okay? Watch, it's gonna be all right. Some other notes about Beauty Bay palettes. Like I said, I really leaned into Beauty Bay as a brand this year. And the Wilderness palette is still much better quality than, for instance, the Age of Opulence. And the Nikki Tutorials palette, I'm having a little bit of a hard time kind of envisioning the way forward with it, just because I really like the shimmers. I don't really like the mattes. And I'm almost, don't freak out, but almost thinking about like depanning even some of those shimmers just to have them and kind of continue with the palette how I would want it that way. Just kind of getting rid of those mattes because they're not good. Like some of them are just way not good. So at the start of last year, I was way into water activated liners. And don't get me wrong, I still like them. But like for day-to-day use, I am really into potted gel liners with Duraline. Duraline is a life-changing product, I'm here to tell you. So if you are a bit like me and in your 30s and still want to do like a crispy wang, but you don't want like products to skip, got hair all over my face and it's driving me crazy. Definitely potted gel liner and Duraline is gonna give you a good result, I promise. I was watching a video of Jamie French back when Jamie French still did makeup videos, and she was like, this is the way. And I had seen that and I was like, what does she know? And then she knows. So yeah, water activated is okay, especially for like big colorful looks, but like day to day, potted gel liners for sure. So the Danessa Myricks Lightworks Volume 3 palette, yeah, I did not order that. No, I did not. I did end up getting some chrome flakes, and those are pretty fun. I do like them. I am interested in getting more, and she did kind of condense that palette down a little bit, and I am thinking about it. It's still $85. So I'm thinking about it because it's not that big, huge thing with highlighters and stuff in it, but I don't think that's a purchase I'll be making anytime soon. Especially, like I said, where I have the chrome flakes, I think it's, you know, I'm kind of getting the things I need from it, you know what I mean? And not from it, but just like, I'm getting as much of the brand as I want for right now. Wow, did you hear my wrist pop? Jeez. Okay, Hourglass complexion products. I bought them. So these products weren't as good as I thought they would be. I had really high expectations of them, and while they're good, they're not as good as I would have hoped, actually. So I'm not saying I'm disappointed or anything, but they just oxidize and I don't have quite the right shade. But I don't have quite the right shade, but also just like, I don't know. I purchased the, well, it's right here, the NARS Radiant Foundation, this one. And the only problem with this one is it's not cruelty-free. Come on, NARS, get it together. So then I can like happily buy you and not be crabby about it. But like, that's the thing about Hourglass products, is that they are cruelty-free, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, that foundation was a bit odd. And I'm still interested in trying more complexion products, especially from Hourglass, but I'm a little weirded out by that foundation. Like I said, it turned out really yellow. Like, I'm pretty neutral, but not completely. So I have to kind of mix and match foundations, and like a cool was way too pink for me, but a neutral is too yellow. I don't know. All right, Ace Beauté, I didn't try it. No, I didn't. I still like the Tropics palette from Ace Beauté, and I'm still kind of waiting for the thing that I want to buy in order to start it. But just like as it is, again, where I don't see a ton of special shades, I'm just not there yet, you know what I mean? I want a palette with like different textures, different things. I like the color stories a lot, but yeah, like I might be more convinced when they start experimenting with like different textures. We'll just put it that way. Cool. That palette bingo thing, or like whatever that Monopoly was, that was pretty cool. And I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'm just gonna wait and see with that one, you know? Yes, these eyelashes are not fitting my eye that well. I've trimmed them, but they just don't kind of sit right, you know what I mean? Pat McGrath, did I buy it? No. No, I did not. That is too expensive for me to justify. And I think I heard Angelica Nyquist say it best, like, if you've tried indie shadows, Pat McGrath is not that exciting. So with that in mind, I may kind of forego trying it. I don't know. I have like looked at some of the palettes off and on, and I don't know. It just is very meh to me. I don't know. I have a hard time deciding. I do like those Star Wars collaboration palettes that are coming out, but do I need it? No, not really. I already have Star Wars. I already have Star Wars collaboration palettes, you know? Like, I don't need it anymore. Like, I'm all set on that. As we all are, I'm sure, you know? Oh, I should say I did get this Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit palette, and it's great. Natasha Denona, nope. I decluttered it, pretty much. I have decluttered all but one of my palettes. I don't really foresee that I'm gonna purchase more Natasha Denona anytime soon. I just don't think the brand aesthetic really matches me. And the price tag certainly doesn't. Like, I'll buy makeup. That's obvious, but I just don't, I don't know. Again, where I have tried so many indie shadows and indie products, like I'm a little bit kind of just not excited anymore about Natasha Denona. I still have my Metropolis palette. I don't really plan on not having my Metropolis palette, but you know, I'm all good. I'm fine at this point. Last year, I said I was done with ABH. Done, finito. No more. And that actually has shifted a bit. I did purchase recently the two newest palettes, the Nouveau palette and the Rose Metals palette. And if I hadn't gone back to work in person, I don't think I would feel that way about them. But now that I have them, I really like them. So that's okay. So is ABH making a comeback though? I doubt it. Not at the full steam that it once was, you know, where people just absolutely stan everything that they do and have to collect everything that they do. I don't think it's gonna ever reach that level of hype again, because we kind of know how makeup brands work now. So I don't think that it's ever gonna enjoy like the same level as it did. It's nice makeup. Like I said, with ABH and me specifically, I like to wear those palettes to work, you know? And that in and of itself is not, to me, indicative of how much I like a palette. It's like how much I can get away with wearing, you know? I don't think the skin and this eye look go together, but we're just going with it. Too much blush. Just simply too much blush. I bought no Morphe. I bought 0 Morphe this year. Wait, I bought 1 Avani Gregg collaboration lipstick because it was black. And it was at TJ Maxx, so I bought no Morphe. Okay, so Huda Beauty. I was pretty sure I was done with Huda Beauty, and I was like, I have the Emerald Obsession palette, I'm done, no more. And as it turns out, I have bought 2 of the big palettes. I bought the Mercury Retrograde palette and the Rose Quartz palette, and I bought the Mercury Retrograde Christmas time last year during like Black Friday or whatever. And then I bought the Rose Quartz palette recently. The Mercury Retrograde has been one of my favorite palettes this year. It's definitely my #2 palette for how many times, like I've worn it the second most of anything else in my collection. And the Rose Quartz palette is good. I think it's more work appropriate again. So maybe not my most favorite cup of tea, but it's still really pretty. I'm sure I'll use it in the coming year. I probably should have worn it today because my boyfriend was like, wear something light, and I was like, purple. And yeah, like muted purple. Do you see? It's nice, it's pretty. Anyway, Juvia's place. I was kind of like, you know, I might not buy any more Juvia's place. And in fact, I have not. And I'm getting ready to kind of declutter some things, and I know that I will be decluttering some Juvia's place for show. For absolute sure. It's gonna go. It's gotta go. There are palettes that I have literally not touched all year. Or maybe once. This year, I really also wanted to check my Colourpop consumption, and I did manage to do that actually. My thing last year, or like my prediction for this year rather, was that I wanted to not purchase any complete collections because I bought like that Wild Child collection, and while there were some good products within that collection, I didn't need the whole thing. And it took forever to get here, and the palette came broken, and it was just kind of anticlimactic for what it was. I think I also got that like Tinkerbell collection, and it wasn't quite it, you know what I mean? So I sort of resigned to just making sure I just pick and choose from each collection what I want and leaving the rest. And I did do that. From February 2022 all the way to September, I didn't buy anything from Colourpop. Nothing. I bought the Harry Potter stuff, I bought the Star Wars palettes, stuff like that. Like things here and there after September, but for the whole like those many months, I didn't buy anything. I bought 1 palette at Ulta, which I don't think counts. Does that count? I don't think that counts. That was over the summer. And yeah, I managed to keep that situation in check a little bit, so good for me. And I'm gonna try to continue that into 2023 as well. Those were my predictions for 2022 and how they kind of worked themselves out throughout the year. So I am gonna be having a subsequent video where I predict what I'm gonna be doing in 2023, so keep your eye open for that if you're interested. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day. I'll see you next time. Bye! Shut up.